How women act when there's another man. Let me ask you something uncomfortable right now. Have you ever felt her energy shift before you ever saw proof? The texts get shorter, the laughs feel forced, the warmth cools off, and suddenly you're feeling like you're competing in a race that you didn't even know you signed up for. A lot of guys wait for proof. High-value men, though, pay attention to patterns. Jessica OS here. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to break down exactly how women act when there's another man in the picture. I'm talking behavioral shifts. You'll learn the subtle signs most men ignore, the psychological reasons behind them, and most importantly, 4 powerful things you can do today once you confirm that indeed there's another man. If you've ever wondered whether she's losing interest, emotionally checking out, or entertaining another option, this video will require that you watch all the way through. Let's jump right in. When her attention starts drifting. When there's another guy in the picture, the first thing that changes isn't something you can screenshot, okay? It's not the dramatic confession or the obvious proof that you're looking for. What changes first is priority. Her attention shifts before her actions do. Her feelings start moving before you can point to anything concrete. And if you're tuned in, you'll feel that shift long before you can prove it. Here's what that actually looks like in real life. First, her response pattern changes. Not just once, not on a busy day, consistently. She used to text you good morning without you saying anything. Now you're the one starting every single conversation. She used to send voice notes or long messages, and now you get short replies, dry responses, delayed answers. A woman who's genuinely excited about you does not repeatedly forget to respond. When someone matters to you, you find time, period. Secondly, let me say, the quality of the conversation will drop. Even when she replies, something feels off. She doesn't ask follow-up questions. She doesn't seem curious about your day. She doesn't build on what you're saying. The energy just feels flat. When attraction is strong, a woman leans in. She wants to talk. She wants to know more, and stuff like that. But when her interest is split, she pulls back emotionally and gives less. Now, this is important. This is not about panicking over one off day, okay? Everybody gets busy, from time to time. Everybody has stress. You're not looking for a bad Tuesday. You're looking for a new pattern. If low effort becomes the norm instead of the exception, something has definitely changed on the inside, and that's what I want you to take note of. Thirdly, her availability becomes selective, right? She's suddenly too busy for you, but not too busy for everything else. Plans get pushed back. Calls get shorter. Seeing you feel squeezed into a tight time slot. That's not random, okay? She's reordering priorities. And people always make time for what excites them. Let me ask you something simple. When you were really into someone, did you struggle to reply? Or were you looking for reasons to talk to them? Exactly. Think about it. Fourth thing I want to draw your attention to is she stops putting in effort on her own. She doesn't plan dates. Doesn't suggest doing things together, stop sending random photos or updates from her day. Those little things, whether you believe it or not, matter. They're small investments that show emotional interest. When they disappear, it usually means that her emotional energy is being spent elsewhere. Attraction works like a spotlight, you see. When someone new shows up, her attention may shift towards what feels new or stimulating. Her mind starts comparing, even if she doesn't say it out loud. Who feels more exciting? Who feels more challenging? Who feels fresh? Newness creates some kind of a rush, and that rush grabs attention. That doesn't automatically mean that she's cheating. It means there's competition. Now, instead of reacting, observe. Instead of demanding reassurance, I want you to watch for consistency. Instead of immediately asking, are you talking to some other guy? Ask yourself a harder question. Have I become too predictable, too available, too comfortable? When her attention shifts, your job is not to chase it back. Your job is to strengthen yourself quietly, improve your life, sharpen your edge, become more interesting, not anxious, and you don't announce it. Just do it. That's how grounded men handle competition. Number 2, increased privacy and defensive energy. When another man enters her orbit, her brain starts subconsciously benchmarking. She may not even realize that she's doing that, but you'll feel it. And the first way this shows up is through shifting expectations. I'll explain. Suddenly, the things that were acceptable are no longer acceptable. The same personality that once made her laugh and giggle all over the place now just feels boring and predictable. The same routines that once felt stable or boring, etc. When she interacts with someone new, her brain experiences a spike in stimulation simply because it's new, right? That doesn't mean that the other man is superior. It simply means he's unfamiliar. Unfamiliar always feels intense, and intensity can distort evaluation, you see. It can. If you sense comparison energy from your woman, you'll notice three things happening at the same time. First, she'll start critiquing you more. Yep, small habits become magnified. She comments on things that she never mentioned before. Second, emotional distancing will take place. She'll pull back slightly while assessing. Third, future ambiguity will happen. Conversations about long-term plans suddenly became vague or avoided. Comparison energy exposes stagnation faster than anything else, you see. If you've been coasting, this is when it becomes visible. But here's where emotional maturity also matters. You cannot control whether she compares, okay? Humans compare. You can only control whether you remain competitive in your own lane. So the wrong question is, how do I beat him? The right question is, am I evolving or have I been comfortable? Comfort kills tension. Tension fuels attraction. If you become insecure during comparison energy, you lower your perceived value immediately. The presence of another man does not automatically mean that she prefers him. It means she's reassessing. If you're grounded, evolving, and emotionally steady, reassessment often swings back in your favor. So I want you to ask yourself honestly, if she met you today in your current state, would she still choose you without hesitation? It's a question only you can answer. Number 3, increased independence talk. Yeah, when there's another man in the picture, the language often shifts before the behavior fully exits, right? Or reveals itself. Now, you can start hearing independence framing. Things like, I just need space. I want to focus on myself. I'm trying to figure things out. I don't want anything serious right now. Now, individually, when you hear these words, they don't seem like a big deal. They're not necessarily red flags, right? And people generally need space sometimes. Growth requires autonomy, right? But context determines meaning. So when these phrases appear alongside decreased investment or comparison energy where she's comparing you to other guys and emotional inconsistency, they're not random. There's restructuring happening, okay? Let's unpack what that looks like. When she begins talking about space, she's psychologically loosening attachment. That space is reducing accountability. She's trying to create room for exploration without formally ending the relationship. Yep, it's a soft exit strategy in many cases. Here's the nuance you miss. If she truly just needed space for stress, work, personal growth, etc., her tone would still feel anchored. She'll reassure you of stability while asking for breathing room. But when space is paired with vagueness about the future, emotional distancing, selective availability, it simply signals uncertainty about commitment. And you need to see it as such. Uncertainty usually comes from options. When another man enters her orbit, it stimulates curiosity. And she can't fully invest in him while she's still tied to you. So she begins to widen that emotional gap. Independence talk is that bridge that creates the gap. She frames the dynamic from us to me. Another pattern to watch is social repositioning. She may start spending more time out without inviting you. She may emphasize how much she enjoys doing things alone. She may highlight her independence publicly. And get me, none of this is inherently wrong. But when independence suddenly becomes central to her identity narrative, it often signals an emotional transition. And here's where men sabotage themselves. They hear, I need space, and they respond with fear. They overcompensate and push for clarity almost immediately. And that pressure just validates her need for space. You see, high-value responses sound different. When she asks for space, you calmly grant it, not passively or resentfully, but confidently. You reduce your availability as well. You don't chase updates. You don't monitor her movements. You expand your own life. Because here's the paradox. Are you ready? If her independence talk is genuine self-focus, your grounded response will strengthen her attraction. If her independence talk is cover for an opportunity to explore out there, Your calm detachment will expose a true level of investment faster. Clinging will delay clarity. Calmness will accelerate the truth. There's another subtle layer here that most men overlook. You see, independence often coincides with increased external validation. So if she's receiving attention elsewhere, she'll feel empowered. And that empowerment will translate into confidence language. I don't need anyone. I'm good on my own. Confidence is attractive. But when that confidence suddenly spikes in the middle of a stable relationship, ask what fueled it. Because usually it's outside attention. So what do you do if there's another man? I'll wrap this video up quickly with this answer. Okay? We're going to shift from analysis to action. 4 pointers. 1, don't interrogate. Now, interrogation lowers attraction, period. The moment you start firing off questions like, who is he? Why are you acting different? Are you talking to someone else? You shift that emotional frame. So instead of being the grounded presence in the room, you become the anxious guy seeking reassurance. Instead of interrogating, what I need you to do is to observe. Observation is calm. It's measured. It's quiet. You watch consistently over time. You listen to tone. You notice effort levels. You track patterns without announcing that you're tracking them. When you observe instead of confront prematurely, you maintain composure. Composure will preserve that attraction. There's a major psychological principle at play here. Hear me. People reveal more when they don't feel cornered. If she feels pressured, she defends. If she feels free, she exposes herself through behavior. You get it? Calmness creates space for truth to surface. Number 2, increase your value immediately. Don't waste time with this. Expand your life, improve your physical appearance, increase social proof, sharpen your ambition, diversify your attention. When your life expands, your perceived value will as well. 3, reduce emotional overavailability. What do I mean? If she senses that you're anxiously waiting for her, urgency will disappear. When your presence feels steady but not desperate, she'll recalibrate. And finally, prepare for loss without panic. You see, a woman who can easily pull away was never fully anchored. If another man can disrupt your position, well, the truth is you were never deeply secured in that relationship. And that's feedback, not failure. Jessica OS here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Smash that like button, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.